YouTube, there is no firearms in this video.
Welcome back to the Low-Key Airgunner YouTube channel. In this episode, we will be reviewing the Marlin Lever Action BB gun from Umarex. This has been sent to us by Airgun Source for a review, and today is the review. In the last few episodes, we did test the trigger, the velocity, the overall weight of it, and tested the accuracy with a few BBs and got a feel for the peep sight. I also did try the buck rail under barrel rail with it to see if a laser will help me get better accuracy. I also compared it to the Red Ryder a little bit and give you my first impression in the unboxing video, so make sure to check out this playlist if you want to see more about this little carbine. Alright, so let's jump right into the specs. I will put some Airgun Source overlays because I will be rating and that's not fun to look at anyway. So it is available for only $59.99 on Airgun Source Canada. It has a plastic stock with a grippy texture, which does seem to be pretty ambidextrous. Other than that, the receiver and the lever are both metal, so it does seem to be pretty solid where it needs to be. A bit of an interesting fact, this one has a plastic loading gate for some reasons. My Red Ryder has a metal one. I don't know if Daisy also did that at one point, but it has a metal lever, so that's pretty good. Oh, and by the way, the trigger is plastic on both of them. And there is no butt pad, but you don't really need one. And there is a pretty cool Marlin logo out there. There is quite a few details on it, so that's pretty cool. There is some fake loading gate, some Marlin engravings and stuff, so... The power plant / type of action is a spring piston lever action repeater. Basically, it can fire .177 caliber steel BBs at around 300 FPS. You can put 650 of them in there and just cycle them with the lever, so that's pretty cool. Out of the box, during my velocity test, I did seem to get around 280 FPS, maybe a little bit more. After a bit of braking, it did seem to be closer to 290. It might climb a little bit more than that, I don't really know, but just so you know. Quick note, the Red Ryder does claim 350 FPS, but they shoot exactly the same, so... Another note, if you watch my chronograph video where I did oil it, and also my accuracy video where I did test the velocity a little bit, it did seem to be very consistent. And I'm not doing this sentence again, even though it sounded very weird, parce que moi je parle français. What I will use this type of airgun for is some plinking from maybe 5 to 15 meter. If you want to shoot further than that, you will need bigger targets and the velocity will not be great. The group will start to spread pretty bad. So this is a short range, low power plinker. We did not get the best accuracy ever in the basement from 22 feet, but it does seem to be breaking in still, and that's plenty to have some fun with plinking and cans in the backyard. Those little plinkers are not really known for their all-in-all capabilities, but more for their lever action repeating fun. One huge advantage of a little low power plinker like that is that it is very quiet, so very backyard friendly. Out of the box, you don't have any rails to put optics or accessories, and you don't seem to have the option to put the rail on because this one does not have a screw on top here, but you do have some elevation adjustable peep sight with this black front sight, so this works pretty good. My fish scale says that this rifle weighs 2.62 pounds and the balance point is somewhere around there, so really not a heavy rifle, so that's good for younger ones and stuff. The rifle length is 36.25 inches. The length of pull is 14.25 inches. Quick note, the adult size Red Ryder has 1 inch extra on the stock because it is adult sized, but this one is really not too bad even if you're an adult, and it will also fit younger ones, so that's pretty cool. They say that it has a 16-inch barrel, but if I try shoving a rod in there, it seems to be around 9.5 inches, and also the 16-inch mark will be about right there, which is further than the spring, so maybe, I don't know how that's made, but just so you know. I've never taken one of those apart yet myself, so I don't really know 100% of the work. I did watch a bunch of videos, but my memory is bad, and I'm better when I actually do it. I know that some people upgrade the springs to get more velocity. That will void your warranty, by the way. So what I really wanted to say is that this is a plunger and stuff, so it could go somewhere in there. If you are a real Red Ryder connoisseur, tell me in the comments. By the way, I believe that our friend at Daisy Lever Gun Fun did compare this with a Red Ryder. I've not watched the video yet, but I'm saying it still because he's cool commenting my videos, and thank you. Enough rambling. So since this is a BB gun, it is indeed a smoothbore barrel. For the trigger pull, we got just under 4 pounds, which is pretty nice because they claim around 5 pounds on the box, so way lighter than they claim, and it is not horrible by any means. Watch my trigger video if you want to see more about that, or this video will be super long to edit. It does have a crossbolt safety that will lock the trigger and prevent it from firing. It also has some sort of ratchet mechanism to prevent it from slamming onto your fingers before you reach the end, so that's a good safety for kids and for yourself. You really don't want to pinch yourself in there. I did try to measure the cocking force with my fish scale, which was pretty hard because it does not record the tops and lows, so it just beeps once you did weigh the fish. But it seemed to be around 10 pounds for the first click, then it climbs up to 12-14 pounds in the middle, and the last click seemed to be around 16, maybe 17 pounds, so pretty doable for most people. Again, the ratcheting feature will make that easier because you don't have to do it in one go, but make sure that you do reach the last click before trying to fire it, or it will not work. One other note on why it might not work if you use it is that it is gravity/magnet fed, so if you don't lean it back after cocking it and get a BB in there, you might dry fire it and you will wonder why there is no BB coming out. I believe that since this is a replica style rifle, Airgun Source might not take return on those, so you do get a
1 year
limited warranty from Umarex. We are pretty much done with the specs. Now let's go for what I like about it / the positive points. So first, I'll not to mention that it is a very affordable little plinker. It is around $40 US and around $60 Canadian from our friends at Airgun Source, so really not bad. I also like the nice old school look, the lever action cycling repeater that will get you some fast repeating action, a lot of BB capacity, so that was a lot of points in one, but you know, that's a lot of fun. Also, it is pretty easy to cock. It has the ratchet system to help you do that. I will not do it because the dog is sleeping there and she doesn't like when I fire it. There is also no BB in there. You don't want to dry fire it. Another thing that can be a positive if you have kids or if you are a big kid is that it will fit pretty much anyone. Maybe it is a tiny bit short for an adult, but I really don't mind it. I don't even think I noticed the missing inch from my adult size Red Ryder, so pretty much anyone can shoot that. Most will be able to cock it at around 17 pounds for the last click if they just pull on it a little bit. Maybe not put the muzzle in the dirt, but some have some questionable techniques, but they work. As long as they follow safety rules and stuff, there's no problem with that. So while talking about the size, I don't know if I did talk about the weight. It is a pretty light rifle, at least if you don't put 650 BBs in the tip, that might add a little bit of weight. To make it short, this is about the perfect little can shooter. It is low power, very quiet. You can shoot a lot in a short time without reloading a bunch, so you can use that about everywhere, anytime, so a lot of fun. Now let's go for the negative points, the part that most reviewers will not do. I'm just kidding, by the way, but a huge thank you to Airgun Source for letting me do my reviews like I do them and not really telling me to do anything at all. So the first negative point will be that it is not the most accurate ever, but this is to be expected with a BB rifle. Like I said, I will mainly shoot that from 5 to 15 meter, maybe bigger targets if you want to push the distance a little bit, but yeah, this is more for plinking than for Olympics. The way I say that in my notes is that it is not for long range mammoth hunting. So don't do that. One other downside of BB guns is that they can cause ricochets, so do make sure to wear safety glasses. I did forget to mention the price of ammo in the positive point. So positive point, ammo is very cheap. Negative point, it can ricochet a little bit. Honestly, for the price and how fun this thing can be, I cannot find another negative point other than this one does not have a screw on there, so you cannot mount a scope like a Red Ryder. As a trade, you do get a longer forearm, some peep sights, and a few details, Marlin logos and stuff, engraving, so pretty nice. Quick note before leaving, they do recommend to lube it with RWS silicone chamber oil every 1,000 shot, but you might want to do that out of the box. 2 drops will be enough, but watch my velocity test if you want to know more about that. Also, the break-in might go bad instead of good if you don't oil it. You might want to have a chronograph to know when to oil it. So that's enough rambling. That will be about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to see more, maybe a little bit of blinking once the weather gets a little bit better. I want to say a huge thank you to Airgun Source Canada for this review opportunity. Hope you guys are okay in the ice storm out there. I know that they lost power and stuff, so yeah. I also want to say a huge thank you to you for watching until the end and for liking this video. You did, right? You did? And subscribe if you did not already, and I hope I will see y'all in the next one because I put a lot of work into that, okay? If you look on there, that's 15 minutes of footage because I ramble a lot, so a lot of editing, and editing is way longer than filming. So leave a like, a bit of hope for my little heart, and I just smacked the microphone. That's pretty bad practice for a YouTuber, and it's pretty sunny outside, and it will melt eventually.